Hi, I'm Robert Beatty, the co-founder of Recovered Nation. If you or a loved one suffers from addiction or mental illness, you've already been to countless treatment centers and therapists and mental health providers. And if you're like me, all of these options have failed you. If that's the case, then you're undoubtedly wondering why rehab centers won't work. And the cost? The inpatient treatment centers in today's day and age are costing between $25,000 and $60,000. And the truth is that most treatment centers struggle to deliver successful outcomes. They do provide a foundation for sobriety, but the chronic nature of addiction often means that relapse is imminent. And for most part, treatment centers are failures when it comes to the successful outcome for their clients. I believe that all treatment is good in some form or fashion because it provides a basis for sobriety and a direction to recovery. However, that doesn't mean that alcohol and drug programs work either. The failure rate of almost all treatment centers is overwhelming due to several factors. The chronic nature of the disease of addiction means that relapse after 30 days of inpatient treatment is not only possible, but it most likely will be the outcome. You got to ask yourself a few questions. If I'm suffering from a fatal or chronic disease, such as a respiratory disease or a heart disease, diabetes, or multiple sclerosis, or maybe cancer, is 30 days of treatment for a disease like that enough? Really? Is 60 or even 90 days of treatment enough? Probably not. Whether you know it or not, alcoholism and drug addiction are mental illnesses and classified as a disease, just like any other disease. They both have behavioral and physiological aspects to them. Addiction happens to be a deceptive illness, making it extremely difficult for most people to stay clean and sober after 30, 60, or even 90 days of treatment. Overcoming addiction requires a fundamental change in how we think about ourselves and our disease and our mental illnesses. Simply going to a rehab center for 30 days and sitting in group therapy all day, every day, with perhaps an occasional individual therapy session doesn't lead to a lasting change. My advice to you is to stop going to rehab and start looking for solutions. I know this from personal experience. I've suffered from drug and alcohol addiction for over 30 years of my life before finding freedom. I went through 7 different treatment centers. Each one was the same. Endless group therapy sessions, minimal education about the disease that I suffer from, no history on the origin of addiction or mental illness, no meaningful work, no. Just a couple of short worksheets, maybe a group therapy session every single day, maybe an individual session. I learned how to crochet, had a meeting with a therapist once in a while, sent home as soon as my insurance coverage ran out and I didn't have any more money, and the result was always the same. I would relapse on the day that I left and often on my way home. It was pointless. I didn't achieve long-term sobriety and freedom from addiction and mental illness in a rehab center. I did not. My freedom came through education and from a caring mentor that had a program that required me to do hard work, and I was willing to do it. It was ultimately the easiest path, and it didn't cost me thousands of dollars or require months and months of endless programs. I received the education that I needed, I did the necessary work, and I freed myself from addiction and mental illness for good. And I've been free ever since, and I've been teaching you. Ask yourself a question. Can my mind treat my mind? Really? Can I think my way out of a disease? You can't fix addiction and mental illness by sitting in a group therapy session every day. There isn't a single therapist or behavioral health professional alive today with the power to fix you or fix the disease of addiction for you. Won't happen. Sadly enough, the fact of the matter is that most treatment programs, both inpatient and outpatient, are about money, not recovery. They all run on the same basic matrix. They're built on a theory of group therapy. Why? Well, the reason is that there's simply too many people needing treatment that are suffering and not enough time in the day for anyone to receive constructive, one-on-one individualized treatment. And it's needed in order to achieve a positive outcome of long-term recovery. I would know. For years and years, my friends, I owned and operated inpatient treatment programs in centers, and I experienced everything that I just told you. Over the years running my own treatment centers, watching people struggle and fail took an emotional toll. I became completely burned out, witnessing individuals that I care about relapse and in some very heartbreaking cases lose their battle to addiction. And it affected me so profoundly that at one point I decided to walk away. And I sold those programs and I stepped aside. And during a time off, I reflected deeply and I researched the root causes of the failures. The answer became crystal clear to me. It was a lack of education. Treatment providers and centers, including myself and my own, weren't giving patients knowledge and tools that they needed for long-term recovery. It was not happening. So I went back to the basics of what works. I looked at what worked for me and for countless others. I developed an educational program that's designed to empower everyone who goes through it, provided they commit to the journey of recovery and they're willing. Overcoming an addiction, alcoholism, and mental illness requires work, requires education, a spiritual enlightenment or awakening, and a change in the way that we think about our disease. The program that I'm about to introduce you to is unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life. It's unlike any other program in the industry. It's designed to educate you about your illness, the history of addiction, the mental illness, and it will provide a true path to full recovery. If you maintain a willingness as you go through this with me, this program will change your life. If you'll do one simple thing, and here it is. I ask you to set aside the prejudice or the fear that you're experiencing right now, a fear this won't work for you, fear that you'll never find a cure for addiction or mental illness that you suffer from. I ask you to put aside this fear, this prejudice, and just be willing to have an open mind, to have an open heart, and to be willing to do the work required in this program. And if you do this, I can promise you something, my friends. I can promise you that this program will work for you and it will change your life forever. All right, what I'm about to share with you, with a select few of you, is a secret to a life of freedom. A secret that not only freed me from my suffering, but in fact has freed thousands and thousands, if not millions of people just like you. A secret that led to my freedom, one that changed my life. It changed my life for good in 2010. The reason that I'm sharing this story with you is because I have personal knowledge of the pain and destruction that's caused by addiction and mental illness. My story is one of successes, of failures, of spiritual awakening, of redemption, and a journey to a recovery from alcoholism, addiction, depression, and anxiety, a journey to a life of freedom. Early in my life, when I was younger, I accomplished a lot of successful things in my career in film and television. I produced numerous well-known productions and films. I became a millionaire at the age of 30, and by the age of 33, my net worth was over $33 million. And along with these successes came the stress of running a publicly traded corporation and raising money and managing employees and successes and failures, ups and downs. The stress of my success is something that I didn't count on. Alcoholism, drug addiction, and depression and anxiety, didn't count on it. And at age 46, alcoholism and depression had taken everything from me. My business crumbled. It took my marriage, my children, my home, my automobiles, my money. And I found myself homeless and living on the streets of Salt Lake City, homeless for the first time in my life. Desperate, alcoholism and depression had also taken a huge toll on my health. I not only found myself homeless, but I was dealing with serious life-threatening issues with my liver, my kidneys, and my heart. With multiple trips to the ER and hospitalizations for my health issues raging on, I experienced something that I didn't see coming. What I thought was the bottom wasn't even close. And during a chronic withdrawal episode that I was having, I had a seizure and a heart failure. I was rushed to the LDS hospital in Salt Lake City. And it was there that I found my bottom. I found myself at that point broken, defeated, and standing on death's door. And I was told by doctors that I wouldn't survive the day, that my liver had failed entirely, and that my kidneys and my heart were affected, and I would not survive the day. Only there did I find a real bottom. It was there that I finally surrendered and I asked for help from the one person that I fundamentally knew I could go to. And it was here that I experienced a miracle of spiritual awakening and the true power of God for the first time in my life. I was introduced to a man shortly thereafter that spoke to me of a secret path to freedom. It was a course of action that would free me from my suffering. A plan that had freed thousands and thousands of people before me, and he had my attention. After all, what was my choice to be? What choice did I really have at that point? Keep on going to the bitter end, numbing out the unbearable pain? Accept help with an open mind and the possibility that it may just work for me. Does this sound familiar to you? Needless to say, I followed his path. Anything is possible in recovery. I finally recovered. I went back to college at Purdue University. I pursued a master's degree in psychology and addiction. And over these past years, I've accomplished more in my life than I could have ever imagined. Since that day, on October 10th of 2010, I dedicated my life to God and to helping others. Since that day, I found peace, true happiness, and true meaning. Reunited with my children, found the love of my life, and I married her. Opened up my first residential inpatient treatment center in Park City, Utah. Founded the Retreat at Zion Residential Inpatient Treatment Center in Rockville, Utah, right on the gates of Zion National Park. Founded Zion Recovery Outpatient Treatment Centers in St. George, Utah, and co-founded Zion Healing Centers. We launched a nationwide franchise of the Zion Healing model, and we now have centers spanning from coast to coast. I've authored multiple books on overcoming addiction, including A Guide to Spiritual Awakening, How Free Do You Want to Be, The Desperation of a Dying Man, and The Business of Healing. And today, my friends, I continue to help countless individuals who suffer through the exact proven plan of action that I'm about to show you today. Unfortunately, I don't have the next 10 hours that I would like to have to go through every aspect of why this program is so important to you. But what I am going to do today is reveal a secret path to a life of freedom. One that has freed thousands of men and women, professionals, celebrities, athletes, and people just like you from addiction, depression, anxiety, and mental illnesses. I want to let you in on this little secret. Over 100 years ago, a simple plan of action was introduced in the United States by a Christian pastor who had experienced a spiritual awakening and had overcome his own forms of suffering. He had a simple plan that was built on a principle that all forms of addiction, mental illness, and emotional suffering stem from dishonesty and selfishness in our behavioral health issues. Hugely successful it was. His recovery plan encompassed 4 key elements that paved the way to freedom from personal suffering. From these teachings emerged the only proven plan that has successfully treated mental health challenges and addiction today. A plan that I want to share with you today. And back in those days, the success of this little-known secret was estimated to be 80 to 95% success. Today, the outcome success rate of most treatment programs in our day and age are estimated between 5 and 10%. It's pretty pathetic. Possibly 3% depending on which state you live in. That's terrible. So what changed? One might consider that over the years of self-interpretation, that ego and pride and arrogance may have led to the failure rates of treatment in the U.S. Wouldn't you agree? You're probably wondering what such a program can do for me, right? Well, I can tell you this. The secrets that are found in this program will answer the following questions very clearly. Is there a cure for addiction? Does it exist? Is there a cure for depression and anxiety? Is there a cure for every form of suffering known to mankind? What does it take to have spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening that causes psychic change or a change in the way that we think about these issues, think about our addiction, our mental illnesses? The secrets found in this program can be used to overcome anything in your life once you understand its simple principles. My friends, there is a simple, proven plan of action found within, then a promise that will set you free. Free from your addictions, free from depression, from anxiety, free from your suffering. If you follow the plan as outlined in this program, you'll find freedom. You'll find peace as I did, and thousands of men and women who have discovered this secret. All right, okay. Assuming you are interested in hearing more and you have an open mind, then the question becomes for you. What do you do now? Where do you start? My question is, what is the cause of my suffering? Ask yourself that. Is it the depression, the anxiety, the drugs, or the alcoholism? One of my students one time told me that his addiction problems were from drinking alcohol, and I chuckled at him. And I asked him to consider that drinking was probably just a solution to a greater problem. Drinking was certainly never my problem. Suffering was. I had to get down to the underlying reasons why I was drinking in the first place. Sound familiar to you? Keep it simple. I'd like you to say hell yes if you're the type of person who takes action immediately when presented with a better way of doing things. Are you? If you are, then the question becomes when. Do you do it now or next year, next month or next week, or immediately? In the next part of this, I'll show you the doorway to a true path of freedom from addiction, anxiety, depression, and suffering. The question for you, how free do you want to be? Let me tell you about the promises found within this program. And before we move on, I want to tell you about the specific promise that's found in the program. One specific, one that will set you free. If you follow the outline and the instructions exactly as they're laid out for you, exactly the way that thousands of men and women before you have done who have found freedom from their suffering. And here it is. Here's the promise. We stop fighting everything and everyone, even our addiction, our depression, our anxiety, our suffering. Imagine your life for a minute when you complete this program. Just vision this in your mind, moving forward without fighting your addiction, without fighting your depression or suffering anymore, never fighting anything or anyone ever again. If you believe at this point that you can somehow manage the suffering that you've been doing for so long, then this program is not for you, unfortunately. This is where you step off. Because the main objective of this program that I'm offering you is to show you how to find the power that you need to overcome these problems. You have to ask yourself a few questions. Am I ready? Where and how am I going to find the answers and the power that I need to overcome? Ask yourself another question. Are you afraid of walking through the ideas that I'm sharing with you at this point? Do you have fear of change, of direction, or failure? Fear that this won't work for you? That's completely normal, and it should be embraced and not feared. I'll be with you every step of the way if you enroll in this program, showing you the way, teaching you just like my mentor did with me so many years ago. And like you, I was promised that as soon as I was willing to believe that there's a solution that I needed and it was at hand, I would see results, and it did. And this is my promise to you, my friends. If you are willing, you will get results. If this is resonating with you, then I want you to say out loud to yourself, yes, I am committed to have an open mind and at least try this. After all, haven't you already tried everything else to no avail? I know, just like you, I had tried everything else at this point. Nothing was enough to deter my train wreck, not even jail. No, death's door was the only place that allowed me to open up my mind, to listen and to learn. And it turns out it was the easiest path of less resistance that was right in front of me all the time, and I just couldn't see it. My newfound mentor introduced me to the answers that I had been seeking for so long. A program that had helped thousands, if not millions, of men and women to find freedom from addiction, from depression, from anxiety, from mental illnesses. And just like you, at this point, I listened to what was being said to me, just like you're doing right now. I asked myself the hard questions as the story unfolded in front of me. I listened to the solution to my problem being laid out right in front of me, just like I'm doing for you. And just like you, at this point, I began to feel hope. I was told that rarely had anyone ever failed that had followed this program, and I wanted what he had more than anything I'd ever wanted before. Ask yourself a few questions here. Do you want what I have? Are you willing to be honest with yourself about what you're dealing with and the choices that you have left? Are you willing at this point in your life to commit to a simple, proven plan of action at this point? My experience was as a result of going through this simple, proven plan of action, I had an awakening, just like you'll have. The compulsion to use drugs and alcohol was separated and removed from me. I was separated from my addictions, my depression, my anxiety, my suffering for good. Does that sound good to you? The reason I'm sharing this story with you is because by going through this exact program verbatim, just like I'm going to teach you, I experienced a power within me that I had never felt before. I felt as if God had made a deal with me. Robert, you'll never have to suffer like that again. And all I ask is that you have faith and allow me to guide you. All I ask you is, are you willing? Are you in? All I ask is that you have an open mind, an open heart, and that you do the work that I lay at your feet. That you follow a simple, proven plan of action. Are you in? And at that point in my life, I said, hell yes, I'm in. That's an easy gig. Wouldn't you agree, my friends? Let me ask you the question again. Do you want what I have? Have you made a decision at this point in listening to me today? Are you willing to go to any length to get it? Are you willing to walk through the rest of the process and have your own experience with this? If the answer is yes, then you're ready to move forward. The question is, are you in? How free do you want to be? Now, before we jump into the program that I promised you, I want to ask you a few more very important questions. Based on the conversation that we've had today, do you feel a little more confident about the possibility of harnessing a power to overcome the issues in your life? Do you realize the ultimate advantage you have now with the opportunity to tap into the unlimited power you need to overcome your issues? Can you envision yourself embracing this program that I'm going to share with you today to end the suffering and step into a new you today? Even if you use a tiny fraction of what I've showed you today and talked to you about, would you say that your time with me is well spent today? If the opportunity arose, would you want to spend more time with me, more time together, diving even deeper into how to achieve true happiness, joy, and freedom from your suffering? Yes or no? I'm sure that there are a lot of you listening to me today that got a lot of value from this, and that was my goal. But I also know there are some of you that are skeptic and are probably thinking right now to yourself, my life is different than yours. There's no way this program will work for me. I'm different than you are, Robert. I know me. Really? Come on, guys, let's be honest. For many people struggling from alcoholism, drug addiction, and depression, anxiety, and mental illnesses, cost and fear of it are the biggest barriers to seeking help, period. Simply put, a lot of people who suffer don't think that they can afford to pay for a program that will lead them to a life of freedom. Does this resonate with you? Have you ever taken a few minutes or time in your life to figure out what is currently costing you to fund your addiction or your mental health issues? The truth may shock you and surprise you. So let's explore this together for a few minutes. An average individual who drinks alcoholically at home will drink about 3 cases of beer. That's $63 a week or $3,276 a year. This same person, if they drink hard alcohol, will consume over $4,680 on average per year. 14 bottles of wine if you're a hard drinker. That's $266 per week. It's $13,832 a year. Guys, this is a house payment for some people. The high cost of maintaining an opioid addiction. Average painkiller use is $150 to $200 per day or more, $54,000 to $73,000 per year. It's a huge number. In 2015, a Washington Post article stated that an individual with a heroin addiction spends between $24,000 and $93,800 per year. Holy crap! Someone maintaining a serious methamphetamine addiction, it'll cost them over $40,000 per year on average. A pure gram of cocaine costs over $165. Even a moderate cocaine addiction can cost over $55,000 per year. A severe cocaine addiction can cost up to $300,000 per year. Incredible. Let's talk about depression. Depression and anxiety is estimated to cost over $200 billion a year in the U.S. And managing a disorder like this is like counting cards in Las Vegas. The odds of failure are stacked against you. You can't do it alone. There's no way. Even at low-cost numbers, monthly medications are at least $70, $840 a year. Monthly treatments, $445 each. That's an average cost, $5,340 a year. That equates to a net monthly cost of $515 or $6,100 a year. If you look at the high cost of medication, it's much, much worse. Monthly medications on the high end are around $170 or $2,000 a year. Monthly treatments around $750 or $9,000 a year. All of this, if you average it out, would show you monthly average costs of $1,185 or $12,000 a year for antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication. This is crazy. All of this doesn't include the other mental health and other costs that are related, like unemployment at 20% higher, divorce 60% higher, DUIs and attorney's costs and court costs, $10,000 to $15,000. Many of you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Drug charges in jail, $3,500 to $25,000. Increased insurance rates, $456 to $1,000. ER visits, hospitalization, $4,600, $5,700. Inpatient treatment, $15,000 to $35,000. Outpatient treatment, $4,500 to $10,000. Detoxification, $3,500 to $10,000. Okay, it's pretty hard hitting, isn't it? I know. I was there, as so many of you are right now. And at this point, you're probably wondering how much this program he's talking about is going to cost me. But before I break it down, I want to show you the incredible value that this program offers. I'm going to do that by telling you what you're already spending. If you enroll in an outpatient or an inpatient program today, you're seeing a psychiatrist or a therapist today, you're probably paying an industry average for inpatient treatment of $15,000 to $60,000 per month. It's incredible. Outpatient programs are $5,200 to $10,000. Psychiatric care, $5,200 to $10,000. An individual therapist care, $5,200 to $13,000. I know, I'm in the business. Many of us have been through all of this and some more than others. You understand this? Even just one cycle through this relentless struggle will cost you between $30,000 and $100,000, and you know this. You've already been through it. So let me offer you another option that'll make sense. An option that you have right in front of you today that will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on funding your addiction or treatment, an option that will save your life. It's an option that has proven successful for 85 to 95% of every person that's gone through it, have long-term recovery, long-term success, just like me. An option that allowed me to personally map out my own plan to freedom through healing, recovery, and spiritual awakening in 2010. An option that will lead you to the same place. It's called the 15 Promises to Freedom series. It's the answer that you've been seeking. It's the most powerful psychoeducation video series that's ever been built, ever designed, that leads to lasting recovery, lasting transformation, and spiritual freedom for every single person that goes through it. It's the exact program that saved my life, that led me to a life of freedom that's changed the lives of countless others. So what makes it unique? Education, deep insights. It uncovers the roots of addiction and mental health struggles. It has a proven framework of real-life strategies and true recovery. It involves spiritual healing that elevates consciousness and inner peace. It includes actionable steps and tools for overcoming addiction, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. And it has 14 plus years of successful transforming life experience and expertise behind it. When looking at the cost of this program today, I want you to keep something in mind. That if you were to come to one of my outpatient programs in one of my nationwide centers, you'll spend about $5,000 for that program. I've personally charged up to $100,000 for one-on-one mentorship. Inpatient programs like those that I have ran average $25,000 and up. For a limited time, and I mean a very limited time, I'm going to allow you to enroll in this program, the 15 Promises to Freedom, for just $497 or 3 payments of $175, whichever you prefer. And I can only provide this option for a very limited time. And when the spots are gone, they're gone. I will not offer this program at that price again. This is an incredible offer. It's an incredible value. And when it's over, And when it's gone, it's gone. I will not offer it at that price again, ever. With all of the factors that you consider today, both the ongoing cost that you're already experiencing and the associated consequences, then the question changes from this: how can I afford to go through this program he's offering, to how can I not afford to go through this program that he's offering? The choice is yours. Put it on a credit card, borrow the money from a friend or a family member, and spend it on this. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let's recap. So today you're going to enroll and pay a one-time fee of $497 or 3 monthly payments of $175. Here's what you do next. If this resonates with you, click the link below and enroll today. Choose your payment plan, pay your fee, and begin your journey to freedom. All right, guys, I'll see you in class. God bless.